Welcome back, everyone, to the 600th, that's right, you heard it, 600th episode of the FloTrack podcast. Happy 600, Gordon.
Happy 600. What's your favorite 600 of all time?
My favorite 600 of all time
I have mine. I'm going to bring it up.
would probably be...
We should watch it.
The Penn Relays 600 last year. Women's race. Thing Mo, Ajay Wilson. It was exciting.
Really?
600s are fun, especially if they're run by 800-meter runners, because you're not used to them going that hard that early, and you're like, whoa, this is an out-of-control 800. But really, it's a 600.
I'm going to put, let's watch, my favorite is when Kaz Loxam, Penn State great, broke the 600-meter world record at Penn State. I'm going to put it in the Run a Show, Colt, at the top. This is my favorite 600 because it involves a kind of transitioning, like a handoff of one Penn State great to another. Isaiah Harris was in this race, getting near the collegiate record. Kaz Loxam was getting the world record. I guess he did get the collegiate record. When did this happen? What year was this? This is almost 6 years ago now. Man, 2017. Penn State, just notorious for having great.
They have a lot of 600 runners.
Milers, obviously with Kaz Loxam, Isaiah Harris. They have some kind of low-key, a couple good half-milers right now that have yet to really break through, but we're going to see them in a few years. But I think I was calling this race. I think I was. I was
So that's
there.
another reason why you like it.
Yeah, I got to watch it live.
Where is it?
It's in State College.
All right. Well, I'm trying to set the stage for people.
Yeah. But Kaz, this is when, like, getting the world record in the 600 was, like, the thing to do. Like, every other weekend.
Didn't Cerrone have it for a couple
Cerrone got
minutes?
it. Career, Kaz Loxam. There's Isaiah Harris. I think he's a freshman here. A freshman or sophomore. But he goes down 49 seconds. It's only 3 laps. If you're an 800-meter runner, you're like, oh, sweet.
Yeah, it's already
I
over.
got to do 3 laps? This is easy.
This makes me think that if we make it to 800 episodes, it's going to be a lot more competition for our favorite 800.
Yeah. Oh,
Colt.
Colt,
Wow,
what are you doing? You just
wow,
like chopping
Colt,
through it? We were
Colt,
watching the
what
whole
was
race.
going on, man?
Colt just killed the race.
I said, did that happen to the feed? Okay.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm genuinely curious. Oh, man, he just missed. Harris just missed.
Harris just missed him, but Kaz got the world record. Harris got the collegiate record. Let's see where those stand.
1:14.91 and 1:14.96. For those of you not watching.
Where do those stand today? So
In the pantheon of, you got to go to indoor 600s too. Not
indoor.
Even, because
So obviously Brazier has broken that time 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Cerrone broke that time, but then Kaz and Isaiah Harris from 2017.
So still in the top 10?
Yeah, both in the top 5. Because right now it's Brazier, Cerrone, Loxam, Harris.
It makes sense. It makes sense that we're doing the indoor 600 and not the outdoor 600 because this is an indoor podcast.
Yeah, there's a roof over our head.
Yeah, we have never podcasted outdoors before.
And if we were to podcast outdoors, we should do it from the check-in. Should we podcast from the paddock at Penn Relays?
Yeah, we should go live. Just
like on Thursday during the 4x4s, we're just sitting there outside, and then, like the high school kids just come through.
Our
and we're
first
just doing
ever
a podcast.
outdoor podcast. We podcasted from the bleachers once early on when COVID shut down NCAA indoors, but that was, again, indoors. But we were sitting at the top of the bleachers. I still remember that.
I kind of want to do this podcast.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Bring the mic.
I'll bring the mic. You bring your mic?
Yeah.
I'm being serious here.
I'm 100% serious.
You're not, but I am. I think it would be cool to do a
I
podcast.
have some logistical questions, but that's okay.
Thursday, there's a bunch of prelims going on at Penn Relays. It's going to be nice out. We just sit outside by the paddock, put up some 2 chairs, and we just start podcasting.
A lot of ambient sound.
Be good.
All right. Stay tuned
happy
on that.
600. Technically, it's 602 because we did 2 emergency pods.
Yeah, but if you didn't number them, they don't count.
Okay.
We're not counting those. Those were just bonus extraneous podcasts.
Okay.
This is the real 600th episode.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about the Boston Marathon, of course. They're the press conferences today. We got some interviews. Our man Anderson on the ground out there. So you can check out the Kipchoge interview that's already on YouTube. And then the other 5 are on the website. Des Linden, Fauble, Connor Mance, Helen O'Beary, spoke to Benson Kiprutu. We'll talk about the Boston Marathon in a bit. First, though, because it's such a busy week, we have results to talk about on a Friday that happened Thursday night. Brian Clay, 10,000s in the steeples last night.
Yeah. During the preview of the women's 10K, I kind of was burying Mercy Chilanga, saying how her rise is over and she's kind of like
You were wrong.
forgotten about.
Wrong.
Now she goes back and runs the number 7-time 10K all time with her teammate just not that far behind her, only 10 seconds back. Chilangat looking good there, 31.55 for Chilangat. Olamomoy, 32.05. But also, shout out to Mazzy Downey, 32.07. Those three women all run caliber. They're like three of the All-Americans, most likely, when it comes to NCAAs in 2 months from now.
Mm-hmm.
Problem is, you don't really know what to take away from a 10K result. 10K results are the most confusing results ever because at the end of the day, they have no connection to how you're actually going to do in a championship setting.
Mm-hmm.
Because people don't run 10Ks at a championship level the same way as they do at Brian Clay or at Stanford Invite or Peyton Jordan. Shows that though, Chilangat, I mean, you're running sub 32 minutes. That's respectable. The question is it going to take sub 32 type effort to win NCAAs? I don't think. I think you just got to be a sub 33 woman to win NCAAs. You don't have to be a sub 32 woman, in my opinion.
The more of these, though, that are around, the greater likelihood, though, that someone is going to push it, and then more people are going to try to outrun the kickers early on in the race. And the weather it was rainy out there. It wasn't the same as the Stanford conditions that Venters ran in. I think we're going to have a decent-sized group of women who they may not have run sub 32, but they're definitely at sub 32 fitness when it comes to nationals. So I think there's going to be a big move. The problem is, though, where's NCAAs this year?
Austin, Texas.
Yes. And what's the temperature in Austin, Texas in the beginning of June? 200 degrees, approximately.
Yeah, about, give or take a few good degrees.
Well, I remember back when last time they had it in Austin, it was hot. And then remember, Wayne Kaladi held on against Carmela Cardama-Baez of Oregon. And Oregon did pretty well that whole weekend. And we found out they were doing the heat training, specifically they had a heat room they were running in, preparing for Austin weather. So that is definitely going to slow it down. So maybe you're right. Maybe this is just going to come down to a kicker's race. That being said, though, we don't know who's going to deal best with the heat. Maybe someone does try to push it a little bit and put the kickers under a bit of duress.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But overall, good performance for two Alabama. They were the two best runners in this race, and they go 1-2. On the men's side, had a little bit of a
kick.
A little bit of a kick.
A little bit of effort there.
The results look more closer than the reality. Dylan Jacobs gets the win over Casey Klinger.
He did kick, though. He could have jogged.
He could have jogged. But it was also fun seeing Casey Klinger run out there with a hat on for the 10K.
Well, you got to keep the rain out your face.
Yeah, keep the rain out of your face.
He should have gone full hat, though. He should have committed a full-on rain hat. That would have been hilarious. Like really wide brim.
Wide brim?
Like plastic.
Like a poncho? Hat. Should have wore a poncho out there, like a yellow poncho?
That would have run him afoul of the rules. But I just think if you're going to wear a hat.
I think you have a BYU
poncho?
Team poncho they can run in.
I just think a really wide hat to make sure no rain got in would have been funny. I kind of was surprised watching the race with 100 to go. I thought they were just going to look at each other. But Jacobs ran it like he wanted to win it in the last 100.
And I think we should take a little bit of credit because the day before this race, or the day of this race, we posted one of his early wins as a freshman at Notre Dame, which was at Brian Clay. It might have been his first ever collegiate win.
He won his heat. He didn't win the overall.
Yeah, winning a heat. But I'm going to look. Oh, no, outdoor. It was his first ever outdoor win.
And this is his last or most recent outdoor win. I think he's going to win some more.
I think,
Bookended by victories at Brian Clay.
But it looked good. We know that he can kick because he did well at NCAA indoors in the 5K. Didn't really show up much in the 3K, but he kind of can give him a pass because he's like, hey, I already got the title. I don't need to go crazy here in the 3. He's just like very interesting, not one, I would say runner, but he doesn't come off as someone who has speed. He seems like more of a grinder, more of like Conor, kind of how Conor Mantz. We always like Conor Mantz. I don't know if he can kick, but then Conor Mantz would still find a way to kick, and it was confusing. It just didn't match up.
It's just because he front ran. We think people can't do both, but some people can do both.
Yeah, and I feel like Dylan Jacobs has a little bit of Conor Mantz in him, where it doesn't look like he can kick, but he can. I mean, he outkicked Drew Bosley in that 5K and Nico Young in that 5K indoors. Outkicks Casey Klinger, who was top 3 in the 3K or 5K indoors. So he can kick. And
you know what else he might have a little bit in him?
A dog.
I mean, 2 titles now.
Yeah. Is he your 10K favorite?
Yeah.
He is?
Yeah. I mean, I change every week, but right now, yes, he's my 10K favorite.
Well, your 5K favorite. No.
Masawi, probably, right now,
Yeah.
if he runs the 5.
So you don't think Drew Bosley should be can win the 10K?
Well, I think a week ago I probably said Drew Bosley, and then I keep switching back.
Wait,
and
so you
forth.
say you pick Dylan Jacobs over Charles Hicks in 10K?
Yeah, you're right. That's a good question.
Charles Hicks didn't really show up indoors,
Yeah.
but he did went cross.
And I think I said last week Hicks was the guy to beat, and then
Yeah.
now Jacobs just showed up and ran
And
28 low, and then you're like,
You're
nope,
prisoner of
change-
the moment, Kevin.
change my mind.
I'm supposed to be the
Hey,
prisoner of the moment
It's
guy.
It's fun though to change your mind.
It
a
is,
lot.
right?
Yeah.
Now you know how I do it. Yeah,
Well-
okay.
It shows that there's a little bit of dynamism to this season. Like
Yeah.
it's not just like a static process. Like we're not just gonna zero in on one person and they're the winner. I think. Listen, if either of those guys, any of those 3 won, you're not gonna call it an upset.
No,
And there's probably 2 or 3 other guys you could add in there.
For sure.
It's not gonna be an upset. So, no one is a out and out dominant huge favorite on the men's side. There's just not. There's not gonna be a person, and they're not gonna have enough races to establish themselves pre-NCAAs.
yeah.
I think some people might fall off, but I don't think there's gonna be a lot of movement in terms of who we think is gonna be the favorite.
And Dylan Jacobs is done running the 10K now. He's just gonna go.
Right. And is Bosley done running the 10K?
Probably, yeah.
Is Charles Hicks done running
Yeah.
the 10K? All right. And they're probably gonna run maybe a quick 5K here and there.
15 here and there, and
Yeah.
do well at conference.
You'll look at conference and be like, well, they tripled, so let's do some math. Let's take out our freaking protractor and try to figure out what's going on. But you won't know.
No.
No one will know. The way you know is if it's like the women's side of things, where someone comes in as a huge favorite, and then there's nothing that disrupts the incumbent's path
You know
to
what?
victory.
Because we won't know, I'm gonna make my 10K prediction after the NCAA 10K. Because
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll be like, oh, I saw the race. I think that person wins.
I'll make my 5K prediction certainly after the 10K
Oh yeah, that for sure.
or midway
Midway,
at 3K.
3K.
I'll feel confident about my prediction at 3K.
We'll do our 5K or 3K predictions.
Well, and then the 10K.
We should do a podcast at the 3K.
At the 10K, you can't wait till after the 10K is done because I think that's cheating. But maybe you could wait till the first 5,000
Depends on what
meters.
time zone you're in.
Yeah.
If I'm watching it on tape delay.
You should make it after the 5,000. The 5,000 meter split, not the 5,000 meter race.
All right, next.
Women's steeple, big. We got NCAA lead. Elise Thorner ran really well. This was a good race too because you had Kayla DeLay in there from UW, but Thorner did really well, stayed patient early on, and as is the case with Steeplechase, a lot changes over those final 3 laps, and that's what happened here with Thorner. She runs 9:39, not her PB, but
Stadium
really-
record.
and a meet record, I believe. Correct?
Yeah.
Yep. So good run for her, in a good position, and beat some quality competition.
I still think though running 930s isn't really gonna. I think at the end of the day, it's gonna be low 930s that wins it. So we still have yet to see these women put together what they're truly gonna be doing when it comes down to championship season, because I think they're still kind of all taking a little easy on these steeples, and they're not really attacking what they're actually building. Like Kaylee DeLay can run faster than 946. She can run in the 930s.
Right.
And I think Thorner can run lower 930s. So we'll just have to wait and see as we get closer towards. Like I think we're going to see a lot more faster steeples, especially at prelims. West and East prelims, you're going to see a bunch of 930s.
Yeah. Well, on the men's side too, you had a pretty solid time. It wasn't the national leader, but you had Rooks of BYU go 8:31, won by 9 seconds. So maybe he's starting to assert himself. Looks like he's starting to assert himself. Again, he's not the national leader, but that's a pretty sizable win for him. All right. The other result I want to talk about, this is interesting. Anytime someone moves events, it's a fun topic, but anytime someone moves to the steeple, it's even more fun.
And anytime moves to the steeple at the Mount Sac Relays,
Yeah, because there's
it's
history
even
there.
more fun.
You start thinking about one Evan Jager. Jordy Beamish ran the steeple at Mount Sac. He ran 8:42 in his debut, had to kick, stop me if you've heard that before, over the final 100 to get the win. Narrow victory. But Beamish, he's run fast in the 5,000. He obviously won an NCAA title indoors in the mile, run a lot of 1,500s. He's a pretty versatile runner, was pretty strong in cross country as well too. Are you surprised that he's chosen to dip his toe in the water in the steeple?
So this isn't the first time he's run the steeple.
Oh, it's not?
No.
Oh.
He ran the steeple many times.
Not his debut.
Not his debut.
Stand corrected.
But
I could have swore it was his debut.
maybe this is a different person, because if we're looking at the World Athletics, you scroll down.
Wait a minute.
He ran in Naperville, Illinois in 2017 and 2018.
I think there's a mix-up here.
I think there's a mix-up because I don't think that is.
But did he
Jordan
run
Beamish.
But did he run in Sydney, Australia in 2014?
I think that is him. So we have a situation here. Was it actually his debut, or is there a man out there named George Beamish running in Indiana and Illinois from 2015 to 2018?
Fair.
Like, what is going on here?
Fair. All right. More investigation needed. Well, at the very least, it's a debut.
I think that
for
is him, though.
2023.
I think the 942 is him from 2014. That would be like when he was in high school.
Right. So we'd still call it a professional debut.
Yeah, professional debut.
Yeah, professional debut.
He ran a full minute faster than his high school time.
Good.
Over 3,000 meters. That's a big jump.
All right. Back to my point, though.
Back to your point, I do think his combination of his strength with the being a solid 5K runner, his ability to kick, he has an elite level kick. He has a top 8 in the world type kick, in my opinion. Did you say top 8 kick?
I have him 14th on my kick rankings.
No, you
but
don't.
He's
He's top 8.
I'll let you have
You
that.
cannot name 7 people who can kick better than him.
Yeah.
Name 7 people who can kick better than him.
Embiid?
Name 7 track runners who can kick better than him.
Well, it's hard to say because not everybody's starting from that far back. Ingebrigtsen?
Yes.
Whiteman?
Sure. I'll give you that.
I mean,
Yeah.
Katir?
Oh, okay, sure. Maybe.
Well, okay. So Hoare, right? You'd say Beamish has a better kick than Hoare.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. Hoare's in front of him though. So what does it matter?
Well, we're not talking about. We're talking about who can kick.
Okay.
He has a top 5 kick, in my opinion.
Whoa! You just bumped him up.
Yeah.
He went from 8 to
8 to
7
5. Because I was like, I'm thinking about it. No, he's better. He can kick better than Fisher. He can kick better than Chalimo, than Kiplimo, than any of the Ethiopian guys.
Okay. I mean, I don't believe you, but okay.
You don't think so?
It's hard.
I mean, you
to
can't.
tell.
Yeah, how
It's
do you
hard
tell?
to
Because you don't know people are kicking off a harder pace, so you shouldn't just.
I mean, I joke, but we really Lincoln I think did do kick rankings
Yeah.
one time, and it would be fun if you had awesome tracking analysis. Like you could see who closed the gaps most on a race or who reached a top speed in the last 400 more than.
So, but what
Hold
I'm trying
on,
to
time
get.
out. I got to update. Troy, in the chat, Jordy said on his podcast, which is a good podcast by the way. I always enjoy those guys. That this was his first steeple.
Then who ran 942 in 2014 in Sydney,
The
Australia?
same person who went to Naperville, Illinois in 2018. It's a mystery.
I don't know if that's true. Maybe he's lying.
I don't think he's lying. Do you have his number?
All right, what? No, this is him. Look at this. Two
All right.
at the
More off track.
Sydney Australian Junior Championships. Oh, that wouldn't make any sense because
He's not Australian.
So
Man, could they have mixed up 3 profiles in one? That'd
maybe
be pretty weird.
that makes no sense. Anyway,
Yeah. This is like the time when we try to figure out who made Justin Knight's T-first profile J Squeeze.
yeah,
I don't know if that's still out
Still
there.
there.
Is it?
probably.
All right, we moving on.
But the purpose of this, what I'm trying to say here, is that he has a top elite level kick. He has the strength. That's what you need to be a good steepler. And I think if he figures it out, he could be a medal threat in the steeple, in my opinion. I don't know how gold medal, no, because he's so new to it. But how old is he? He's still mid-20s. I'd give him... He could legitimately be in position to medal in 2024 and 2025 at the steeple, if he keeps at it. He has to... How much better
What's
are
his
these...
3K time?
I don't know.
What's his 3K PR?
We have to make sure it's either him or this guy from Australia.
No, or the guy from Illinois.
Or the guy from Illinois. 3K time is 7:36.
I mean, Walle's run 7:24. Gurma's run ridiculously fast. I mean, he just...
Yeah, but
I
he also... What's Walle's mile time? Because his mile time is 3:51.
He's only run indoors 3:30.
What's Wale's 5K time?
12:53.
Point taken.
Yeah, okay, because here's what you do with these things. It's like, all right, there's some people who just are going to be great on the flat, and you're like, all right, they got the speed, they can just get over the barriers. And there's other people who are really awesome at the barriers, and they can make up for the fact that they're not as good over the flat distance. That's usually how you could divide it that way. I know there's some overlap there, and maybe there's a third or fourth category too. But that's usually what you look at when you're breaking down someone's potential in the steeple. I don't think he's there in the flat with the flat speed yet to be that good. He could be really good, and maybe you could say his chances in the steeple are better than they are in the 1500.
I don't know. I just feel like he doesn't have fast flat times, but he has fast flat wins or impressive flat wins.
Yeah.
You know, that's all.
Yeah.
Anyway,
All right, let's get to Boston.
he's going to medal in 2025 at age 29.
Yeah, my last thought on this before we move on to Boston. The steeple is really hard to tell how good someone's going to be the first time they do it because they haven't gone over all the barriers in practice for the most part. Maybe they've done a few here and there or around a couple laps, but very rarely are you doing a whole 3,000 in practice. So your first time doing it is really your first time doing it, and then there's going to be a big jump up your second time, just like we saw with Jaeger that season. So here we go. Boston.
Let's do it.
This is the most excited I've ever been for a marathon. To watch it.
Really?
Yeah.
Most excited. More exciting than Breaking 2.
Yes.
More excited than any Olympic trials.
Yeah.
More excited than
the Olympics.
Galen Rupp debut.
All of it. All of it.
More excited than your first marathon.
Yeah. In retrospect, shouldn't have been excited at all about that one. It combines a lot of the things you just brought up. All right. Breaking 2 had Kipchoge. We have Kipchoge. A debut. This has a debut element to it because it's his first time in Boston on this historic course. Trials. What do we like about trials? Straight up competition. Clock doesn't really matter. That's what you got because you got
Clock
Evans
doesn't matter. Yeah.
and you got Benson Kipruchu. You have a stacked field going against him. If it was Kipchoge and a weak field, we would still be fascinated because then the story would be Kipchoge versus the course, maybe Kipchoge versus the clock if the weather cooperates. But we don't have a weak field, Gordon. We have a very, very good field here lined up to go against him. And you have real stakes here because he just ran a world record. So we can't say he's past his peak. We have to say he is at his peak right now. However, we also need to think about his age and think about how racing opportunities are few and far between. How many more chances is he going to get at Boston?
He needs to go 1 for 1.
That we don't know. And then you move ahead to New York and he probably needs to go 1 for 1. Maybe he'll come back next year if he doesn't win it. But we've never really been in that situation because every marathon he's run, with 2 exceptions, he's won.
Yeah.
So he never needs to worry about, hey, am I going to come back as the guy who got beat? That's really hasn't been a scenario that's familiar to Kipchoge. And I just think the thing that is so unique about this is that he's doing Boston not at the tail end of his career, not in the twilight, but coming off of a world record when interest in him is still growing. It couldn't be any higher right now. We are witnessing Pete Kipchoge, and we get to see Pete Kipchoge on this course against his field. That's why.
It's crazy.
I'm
We've
excited.
been saying Pete Kipchoge now for like 8 years.
100%. And it's so weird because he keeps pushing it back and pushing it back.
You give him another way? Nope, it's still going up.
We would have accepted Kipchoge on this course at the back end of his career.
Yeah.
Oh, man, he hasn't won his last 2, but maybe he can recreate the magic. We would have accepted that.
Get 7th, and we're like, oh, it was good. See ya.
Because you want to see him on Broadway, right?
Yeah.
You want to see the biggest in the sport compete on the biggest stages.
You mean Broad Street?
No, Broadway. It's like this is the big time.
Broadway is New York.
Yeah, I know, but it's the big show, right? Like
You can't use New York analogies on a Boston course, man.
Okay.
Come on, they're like rivals.
You want to see him in the Garden.
There you go.
You want to see him in the Garden at his peak.
Wait, no, that's Madison Square Garden.
No, Boston Garden, the parquet floor.
Okay.
Theater, I'll give you the advantage on. Hoops history, I'm going to go with me. You just want to see these figures compete at the places that have the most history where it means so much and where there's just this tradition and level of excellence that's expected. And I think it's going to be fantastic. He always delivers. He's won 17 of the 19 marathons that he's run. He never pulls out of a race. He never drops out of a race.
Much respect.
Yeah, yeah.
You're the GOAT when you refuse to DNF. Question now. Kevin, you're really good at reading body language. You're really good at reading the vibe of people around them.
People have told me that before.
Yes. So the thing about marathon running is they kind of go into hibernation. Yeah, we see maybe a couple Strava segments, see a couple Instagram posts about their sponsorships or whatever, but we don't really know what's going on because they race so rarely. They race 1 or 2 or 3 times a year, right? So we have really no feasible thing to go off of for Kipchoge, except for his last race, which was a world record, but he could have twisted his ankle and have a stomach ache, and we don't know what he's, we don't know, right?
Yeah.
But what you can know is you can read body language. And we had an interview with him that we just uploaded onto YouTube and our website. 12 minutes of him on the mic.
Mm-hmm.
What's your body language reading? Does he look like he is classic Kipchoge? Does he look like he's hiding something? Does he look like he's
not 100%?
Does he look like he knows he's 100%? Like, what's your read on it?
No. See, the thing with Kipchoge is how he acts and what he says always exudes confidence, and then he always delivers. So you make the connection between the two and think, hey, this guy's telling a 100% honest truth here. How many times do you see the pre-race Boston interview or New York interview or Chicago or any major marathon, and the athlete goes on about how great the buildup was, and then they don't run well, and then afterwards they say, yeah, actually I missed some time.
That's true.
Kipchoge doesn't do that, and if he does, we never hear about it because all he does is win at these races. So I think body language looked good.
Grade A.
Grade A. I think the snippets, the little excerpts were great from what he said. He's always good at having those quotes that are so memorable. If he hadn't run a world record the last time out, maybe you'd say, well, it's his first time.
It's been a while since he's run.
And these other guys are really good.
The hills.
Well, that's the other thing. All right. I get it. Boston's more difficult than
Scott
London.
Hills.
It's more difficult than
He's
Chicago.
never run. Kipchoge's never run an incline before.
The way people talk about it is there's not a single hill in Kenya, and the Boston Marathon course is basically junior Mount Everest. It's like, calm down, people. He'll be fine. He will be fine. People run fast. They don't run as fast as Valencia on this course, but they run fine.
If your friend who ran Boston Marathon can get up the hill, I think Kipchoge can get up the hill.
One of the greatest endurance athletes
of
all time.
Heartbreak Hill. It's like, it hurt my friend who was running 4-hour pace, but Kipchoge, I don't know if he's going to do it.
Again, and is it slower? Yes, assuming that we don't have the crazy tailwind behind us like we did in 2011. But yeah, the whole conversation about how this guy's never seen a hill and this is going to be the thing that's going to break him makes me really glad we have a legit field. So that way the discussion isn't Kipchoge versus the course. The discussion is Kipchoge versus Chebet and Kiprutu, who are really good, by the way. Those are the last 2 winners of the race. Chebet also won New York. Kiprutu ran Chicago. We got an interview with him, and he said he thinks his experience, he said like a home field advantage, basically, he thinks he has, because this is his 4th year in a row running it. Also, those guys are teammates. And they happen to be the 2 best guys, the 2 best candidates to beat him. So the fact that they're teammates could help a little bit. Now, if Kipchoge's on his game, I think we both agree, nobody's going to touch him. But the difference is there's enough variables to where it keeps this thing interesting. But he's won championship-style races before. He's won the Olympics twice. I think he'll handle the hills just fine.
We were talking about how the Boston Marathon, you have gambling odds on it, how it's not going to be eligible in the state of Massachusetts, but some other states. Right. Bovada, which is overseas, had lines for this. The line opened up, though, at like -110, which is basically even for Kipchoge, which is crazy. And it's now -400.
People were slamming.
So people were like, wait, you think I can double my money by just saying Kipchoge is going to win?
Yeah.
And they put lots of money. But now it's -400, which means you got to put down $400 to win 100.
Who's the second pick?
Right now it's tied between Kipruto and Chebet, plus 900. Elisa DeCisa, plus 1,400. Courier, 1,600. Katada, plus 2,200. So top American, Scott Fauble, plus 2,800 to win the Boston Marathon.
Mm-hmm.
Connor Mance, plus 2,800 to win the Boston Marathon. I don't know. 28-1, I feel like is even.
I still think there's value on Kipchoge.
Yeah.
I wouldn't bet
I feel like for American to win this, it would need to be, 50-1 in my opinion, not 28-1.
Yeah, you'd need just a massive upset. There are years to pick the big upset. This is not the year to pick the big upset because
Yeah.
you have a guy who's basically unbeatable. And then even if he falters, you have two guys.
Yeah, backup
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
So, talking about the little bit on the American side, Fauble and Mance, where do you think they're going to do? I mean,
this is such a deep race. You don't want to base it off of time, obviously, because it's Boston. You want to measure it off of plays. But I am interested to see those two against each other, how they match up. And then Ben True is also in the mix, and there's a lot of other good Americans in the race. Mance, this is the second one. And it's a different style of running than he did in Chicago. So I'd expect to see him make a leap up. We just won't see it in terms of the time because if he goes out and runs a 2:08 again, I think that's going to be a huge success. Fauble been around. I think we're going to see another solid run from him. I wouldn't expect anything less. He's usually brings it in these races. But yeah, it will be interesting, and some of it will be weather and conditions related. What does the pace start at? How many packs are there up front? Is it one gigantic one where they're all just jogging along and Kipchoge is reading excerpts from his upcoming autobiography? Or does he take the reins of the race, or does somebody else and Kipchoge follows that person because that person's really good? Do you remember the first half of Berlin, how quickly he went out? Remember, it was like, holy.
He might break too, yeah.
Yeah, like right near 60 flat. So, again, he's more familiar with that course than he is this course. That course is flatter. So I don't think he would do that. But he's also not just, I don't think he's just going to sit around to the last 5K and wait for it. And I think everything is keyed off of Kipchoge. The way these guys talk about Kipchoge, the way they respect him, you have to respect him given his PRs and how good he is. I think everybody's just keying off of him. He's the man to watch.
Last question on the men's side before we go to the women's side. We're in America.
Yeah.
Big running fans in America. There's a lot of people who love distance running. It's all over, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people who are going to be in the Boston Marathon who probably look at Kipchoge as like the Michael Jordan of
they should,
their passion.
Yeah.
Are we going to see any local runner
try to
go for it and try to have a moment of a couple strides?
Are you talking
next
about
to
actually
Kipchoge?
in the corral with him, or are you talking about someone
in the
like
race.
on the sidewalk running by him? It's tough, though, because to be in that first corral, you have to be pretty good already to be in that starting group.
Yeah.
And if you're starting behind him, you're not really going to catch him.
You just run a 5K, man. You go for it.
Well,
you just run to catch up.
But those people, they don't want to burn a race. They're not in there just to mess around and get a viral vid. You know how serious.
It's Kipchoge, though.
You know how serious.
Burn it for Kipchoge.
There's no more serious person
What if
than
they've done Boston like 50 times? They're like, all right, I don't care. I'm not even healthy. I'm a 3-hour marathoner. Who cares? Let's go for it.
A 3-hour marathoner is not starting up there. It's like a 2:18 marathoner. There's no more serious person on earth than a 2:18 marathoner. Have you met a 2:18 marathoner?
Yeah,
they are very serious.
A little too serious. Let's be honest.
I don't think there might.
There's got to be someone.
No, it's gonna be. Well, it won't be that level. It'll be somebody like C.J. Albertson who pushed the pace before, but he's not a rec runner. And he's probably thinking, hey, not just I want to run with Kipchoge, but if the pace goes out slow, I'm gonna run my race. Like I can't. Running is a solitary pursuit.
Yeah.
Kipchoge is intimidating. I get it. You watch him and you're like, whoa, I'm in the presence of greatness. But you can't run 26.2 miles reacting to everything that person does, especially when that person is better than you.
Yeah. No, I know. I'm just saying, is there a diehard Kipchoge fan who's going to be like, yo, he is running on the race I'm in. I'm going to find a way, whether I crash and burn or not, to like run next to him for 2 minutes or 1 minute.
I'm curious. I want to know people's time predictions. You can look at the weather. You can not look at the weather, but just what do you think is going to be the approach that Kipchoge takes? Because that probably will dictate what your time prediction is. But what do you think it will ultimately be? I think I said 2:04 last pod. I think it'll end up around that. And I think he's almost going to run a 2:04 by accident. The weather, we're just tracking the wind at this point. What direction is it going to go in? But I just think he's too good. This era is too good and too fast for it to dawdle for that long. And they're going to run a pretty big negative split. And I think it's going to be, I don't think they'll get to 2:03:02, but I think they'll run the fastest time outside of 2011, which is 2:05.
33% chance of rain on Monday. 56 degrees, 13 mile per hour winds, 50%, 75% humidity.
Well, the last race he lost, rain in London on that loop course.
Should we hammer someone else to win the plus 900.
I don't know. What's the percent chance of rain?
33%.
Okay. No, I'm not. Not enough for me. It is interesting too. This is something I was
50% at 6 p.m.
I was talking about it on my other pod.
It's a race against. There's a headline. It's a race against the rain this weekend in Marathon Monday.
Yeah, well, Kipchoge will win that race. Other people will not. Kipchoge will win against rain. He's defeated all the forces of nature.
He didn't defeat it when
like
he had the earache.
That's true. I give Mulligan on that one 2020. He gets a 2020 freebie. Yeah, it was a rough year for everybody. I think we have an interesting thing setting up though here. Boston win, New York win. I don't know if he runs the spring, but then the Paris walk-off, and then we start having the conversation of greatest athlete of all time. Well, we further the conversation. The conversation should have already started.
We start putting him in the Muhammad Ali.
I think the mainstream media, whatever that may be, I don't know, or the mainstream sports media, once he does, because I think he's going to get he got a huge bump because of Breaking 2. He probably may not ever match the bump that he gets from Breaking 2, but running 2 marathons in the U.S. is definitely going to raise his profile a little bit more. And then if he does win a 3rd Olympic gold medal, bumps it up even more. And then you got to look at the guy's track record, because then the dominance goes from, over a decade, plus you throw in the track stuff, rewritten every single record, got the career Grand Slam, which when they started, this isn't like tennis, where they thought, man, it'd be kind of cool if someone could win all 4. When they had these marathons, like the World Marathon Majors, no one ever started with the idea that someone could win all of them. You know how I know that? They added one. They theoretically made it harder.
Yeah.
I mean, what if World Marathon Majors tomorrow decides the Philadelphia Marathon is going to be the 7th major? It's like, man, you just made Kipchoge's accomplishment a lot harder. But
that's how they keep his career going.
Just add
another major. He'll have to go
Napa Valley Marathon is now a World Marathon Major.
And all the executives is like, let's just make all the marathons in our backyard, and he just comes and hangs out with us.
So you have a situation where he's just checked off every conceivable career accomplishment that anybody could have put in front of him, and it just tells you everything you need to know about this guy's career. Number one, he had to start racing the clock because nobody else could keep up with him. That's how he spent 2 of his marathons. And then he does this career marathon major, which nobody else was really chasing, and it was never really a thing before he decides to do it. He's had to invent and improvise and come up with new challenges because he's been that dominant.
All right, so we're both picking Kipchoge to win, obviously, right?
Yes.
I am as well. American inside of top 5, yes or no?
Top 5, no.
Top 7. Including 7th place.
Top 7? Yeah, I'll say Mance gets 7th.
And then top 10, 1 or 2 people.
Yeah, maybe 2. Maybe we get someone else in there in 10. Again, it depends on how many people just make it to the finish line with the weather and everything like that. But I don't know. Rainy and a little chilly is way better.
Rainy and a chance of meatballs. Yeah, you never know what happens.
Well, it's way better than being hot. All right, women's side. Women's side is fascinating too, because this is a super deep race for them. We've gone through it before, how good women's marathoning is right now. So any major is going to have 5 or 6 women that you're really interested in seeing. The end result here is we have 5 women with sub 218s. You have Amani Bariso, who ran 2:14:58, huge PB at Valencia, one of the fastest times in history. So you have that group of 5, but Gordon, that doesn't even include Gebre Selassie, who is a world champion in Eugene. It doesn't include Edna Kiplagat, who was elevated to champion recently in 2021. That doesn't include Yeshina, who was runner-up before. That doesn't include Helen Obiri, who was amazing on the track. This will be her 2nd marathon ever. I thought Des Linden in the press conference interview summed up really well, and she said basically she could run a great race and not be in the top 10. Like, that's how good this field is. Someone of her quality could run great, could exceed expectations, but the list is so deep here. And I'm fascinated to see it. I don't really, because all these women you could maybe make an argument for, and all these women you could probably see a situation where they wouldn't be able to get it done. I guess I'm most interested in Bariso, because sub 215 is a bold statement.
Yeah, and see what that translates to marathon Boston course. conversion.
I know that'll be fun. I hope the Boston race is really honest, so you could get a good. And in the men's side, we have a couple guys who have run fast in Valencia, but like it would be fun to have a great comp between honest race in Valencia, which every race is honest in Valencia, versus honest race in Boston. Like, oh, it's like 4 minutes, like whatever the number may be. It's like we have this hard and fast number that we can apply to it. But yeah, I don't know, anything you're watching for on the women's side? I didn't look at the odds for the women. Do they have the odds
They
for the women?
don't have odds for women.
Okay, because I would go off the board a little bit here.
Yeah.
I would go Yeshina. Okay, she used to have the world record in the half marathon. Her PB in the marathon is not that good, but she was runner-up before in this race, so she's got experience. And I think she's kind of hiding down there because her PB is like 2:20:51.
Yeah,
you could probably get some good odds there.
I mean, I'll be excited to see, the order of the Americans, right?
Mm-hmm.
We always kind of want to know what the pecking order of
Sarah Hall's in there. Yeah.
Sarah Hall's in there. Emma Bates is in there. Some other people who've been running, in the 225 range. But there is one person who's making a debut. I mean, I don't think she's going to run a crazy time that's going to like, whoa. But Erica Kemp, she's been a decent, distance runner as a pro. Maybe she surprises us. There's always like that one runner who's like, whoa, I didn't even see that coming, and she could debut and be the top American. I'm like, whoa, I didn't even expect that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's going to require a lot of things to go right for someone of Erica Kemp's caliber to beat all the established U.S. women. But
They run 15:10.
You never know.
5,000, 31:35.
So that's
10.
what I'm kind of looking at. Kind of looking at to see the pecking order of the U.S. women. So.
Well, on that topic, but for the global stage, we just have been continually adding people into the mix. We were joking.
Yeah, we're running out of spots.
It's a big 6. It's a big 7. It's a big 8. Do we keep adding, or does someone in that top group start to separate? Because if Barriso wins it, then you're thinking, okay, she gets elevated into another tier. But if it's
so we have a tier within the tier?
Yeah, we're gonna have a super tier, I think is what would come next. But maybe somebody new will win, and then we'll just continue to add stuff in. So it's going to be great. I'm excited. We're going to be recording on Monday after the race, 12:30. So they should be done. Well, they will be done by then.
It should be done? You're like, I think that's enough time.
It could get tactical. I mean, it would be funny. One of those years, I thought it would be so funny if it got so tactical that the mass race passes them and they're just not paying attention.
Well, it almost kind of happened with the hurricane version.
Yeah.
But
it'd be funny if they all were in a group, though.
Yeah.
And they're just chilling, and all of a sudden, Steve from Wichita runs by. And you're like, wait a minute.
Running for a charity.
Yeah. And then they're up front. So they will be done by the time we record. So we'll be able to do a recap. And I'm gonna be pumped to talk about it. Yeah. As I said, this is the most excited I've ever been for a marathon. Especially my own. And if I ever run another one, I'll be more excited for Kipchoge than I am for myself.
Fair enough.
So, all right. Over-unders?
News, Penn Relays.
Oh, yeah. Gordon's got more Penn Relays news.
Penn Relays news. University of Washington will be at the Penn Relays. Originally they weren't, but now they are. There was a last-minute decision. It took me kind of pestering Andy Powell at NCAA to be, hey, man, you have all these guys in the mile. You need to run Penn Relays. It's like, I don't know, man. It's across the country. It's like, no, you got to do it. I interviewed the guys, got them to talk about it on camera. They're like, yeah, we want to do it. This is their roster. Turns out Kieran Lum, though, is no longer a collegiate athlete. He is signed with On, I believe.
Okay, so you got to update your tweet.
So I got to update that tweet. But they lose a 352 miler, and it has no impact on their depth because they had 5 guys who could run 352 or faster. So it really doesn't really matter. The main thing that I think they're going to do is Brian Fay is from Ireland, and one of the other guys is from Canada.
Okay.
So I think they probably won't be on the 4x-mile team.
Because they're going for the world record.
Because you might as well make them All-American so you can get the world record.
Yeah. Which, by the way, terrible rule. Go ahead.
Yeah, terrible rule. World record is 1549.
Yep. Oh, wait.
Collegiate record is 1603.
1603.24, yes.
American record is 1603 indoors.
Oh, I don't have the indoor. Oh, here it is.
And Penn Relays record is 1604. So,
wow.
they're probably
Look at you.
I think they're going to break 16 minutes. I mean, we keep on saying that, but they got to do it now. You got people run 3. For them to run 4:01 is going to be so slow for them.
It's going to be so frustrating.
If they don't,
I think it might happen, though. You
think they're going to sit and there's no reason they're going to sit and
I don't
kick.
think they're going to sit and kick necessarily every leg, but all it takes is one leg being a little wonky or it's a little windy, and then they just start thinking about the win instead of, I don't know.
They're not going there to win. They're going there to break a record.
And then if you're out there all by yourself, it is hard to run.
Oklahoma State's going to be there. There's going to be teams. Stanford's going to be there. There's going to be teams that can keep it honest.
You got to get those two coaches to talk to each other and be like, hey.
I need to put them in a room.
Let's just end.
We got to meet at a local pub on Friday night.
This needs to end with a world record. 15:49. What is that an average of? It's what, 2.5 seconds. So like a 3:57-ish average. Put that tweet up back again. What
their number 8 runner runs 3:55.
Yeah. So I know it's not the same. Running with the baton is different. Running by yourself or not in an open race is different. But yeah, usually your estimations on what people are going to relays are way too optimistic.
Because I'm averaging like their PR of 3:57. But if your PR is 3:51, you can run 3:57.
If you look at that, yes, that should equate to a 3:57 average.
Yeah.
At least. Unless your handoffs are terrible. Are they practicing handoffs in Seattle?
I don't know.
Stillwater?
They might be. So yeah,
so you
exciting.
So you think Oklahoma State could do it too?
Yeah, and I think Stanford could do it too. A lot of teams could do it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good teams.
They got to go. They got to watch the women's race.
Yeah, women did it with
year.
Arkansas and NC State. They need to recreate that with Oklahoma State and UW.
Use that as a.
They pushed each other when they did the indoor DMR in Arkansas. It's the same thing situation. Yeah. Go for it. Why not? Have fun. And if you lose, whatever. Like you got to you went for it. Would you rather win and run slow or lose and run fast?
Yeah, go for it.
Lose and run
100%.
Fast.
Go for it. You're right though. 1549, 1985, Ireland team: Coughlin, O'Sullivan, O'Mara, and Ray Flynn. The Duck Track Club last year, Wisner, West, Hawker, Tier ran 1552. It's right there.
Yeah.
It's absolutely right there. And that's a good comp because those are runners we're pretty familiar with. And the splits were 359, 401, 357, and then Tier ran 352 on the anchor. But that Hawker split, that Hawker 357, that's the thing that gets stuck in my head of, oh yeah, it is different. It is different running the third leg of a 4x-mile as opposed to regular mile in indoor season or outdoor season. So, but they didn't have competition.
They didn't have competition.
You need competition. You need Oklahoma
we
State.
Have at Penn Relays.
You need Stanford.
Live on FloTrack.
So you think Stanford can get 4 guys that could mix it up?
I think a lot of teams could get people. Everyone has a guy who can run 358, 357.
No, I'm saying like that, like near that.
Well, no, Oklahoma State's the closest near that.
Okay. But Stanford could stick around for 3 legs?
I think so. If they have 4 healthy guys. But Charles Hicks doesn't really run the mile much, but he can run 355.
He's fine.
So, anyway, that's going to be exciting. Watch it live on Flow.
All right, Tampa Eagle asks, what events this weekend other than Tom Jones, please?
What events or what meets?
Like what meets, I think.
So is Mount Sac, Tom Jones.
Mount Sac's going on right now. Yeah.
Brian Clay. Kansas Relays. I don't know if anyone's running a Kansas Relays. So.
Yeah, I think Tom Jones, Mount Sac, Brian Clay are the big
marathons.
3. Well, yeah, he's talking about track. Track is the... I think, dude, you'll get your fill just with a couple of those.
Yeah.
I think we went through the Tom Jones entries. It was pretty good, even with some scratches.
It's probably, yeah. I mean, Tom Jones is where all the sprinters are. Brian Clay's where all the distance runners are. Mount Sac is a little bit of both.
Both, yeah.
And then
multis too with Owens and Garland, right?
Yeah. So
good stuff.
Are we doing over-unders or no?
Oh, yeah. Over-unders. I just wanted to get to Tampa Eagles' question. Okay. If you ever took a trip to Tampa, what's the first thing you would try to do?
Contact Tampa Eagle?
Yes. Okay. I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
We don't even know if he's from Tampa.
I think. Tampa Eagle. Are you from Tampa?
He could be from a place that's called Eagle, Colorado. He could be from Eagle, Colorado.
And Tampa's
where his parents are from.
His favorite football team?
His name also might just be Tampa Eagle. Had nothing to do with it. He could live
what if we're pronouncing it wrong?
He could live in Missouri for all we know.
Tampa Eagle. It's like his nail.
Yeah, like Tizzle-Apagia. Yeah.
Maybe he's making fun of your pronunciation. Maybe you tried to say something completely different, and it came out as Tampa Eagle. Right.
So what are we doing here? We need what are we?
I mean, let's do Boston.
Let's go
2:04.
Kipchoge time or winning time?
Winning time for the men.
Men's winning. Boston. 2 what? 2:04.
Oh, you think he's from Philly?
Oh, he's from Philly.
Wait a minute.
We'll see him at Penn Relays. All right, 2:04.
Dude, Tampa Eagle, if you're from Philly, we need a picture.
All right,
Penn Relays.
2:04.
How starstruck would you be to meet Tampa Eagle?
I wouldn't know. How would I know?
Well, if he comes up and says,
someone could just
actually, someone's
pretend
gonna,
they could.
yeah, dang it, I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah. Everyone's gonna say I'm Tampa Eagle.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have to believe.
They're
How are you
like,
gonna
come
prove
up,
it?
whisper in your ear, I'm Tampa Eagle.
And you'd be like, I'm Spartacus. Everyone's gonna say that. All right, 2:04 over under.
No, it should be higher than that.
All right, 2:04:30.
No, it should be higher than that.
2:05.
Yes.
Okay, I'm taking the under.
Yeah, I'm also taking the under. Sorry. Women's time. Let's go with. Let me see. What's the women's course? Actually, this is interesting. The women's course record is pretty surprisingly slow. It was Rita Jeptu, but she got popped for doping. So it's Deba that same year. 2:19:59. So why don't we make it? Let's make it 2:19:58. And will we see a course record?
2:19:58.
Will we see a course record?
I'm gonna go.
I'm going under. I'll just tell you.
When was that run?
That was.
What was the winning time last year?
Hold on, that was 2014. Last year, it was like. Hold on, I got it right here. It was. Wait, that's not right. 2:20? No.
I'm taking under then. Under. No, I'm going over.
You should go over. Over's probably going to win. 2:21 was the time last year. And it was Perez Jepchirchir. She was
yeah,
fast.
I'm
You're
going over.
basically
I'm
betting,
going over. I'm over.
Are they going to run hard the first half? Is like what you're betting on. They'll have a lot of people have the ability to run faster.
I'm going over.
Yeah, I think someone is going to go.
Okay.
Lyles 200. Didn't we? What was the one we were going to do we talked about it on Wednesday. We were going to do. You had some weird over/under thing of like, oh man, I can't remember.
I can't remember either.
Yeah, sorry. Let's do Lyles is 200 or Lane Thompson Ross 200.
How about combined time of Lyles and Lane Thompson Aurora?
All in one number?
Lyles plus Lane Thompson Aurora in the 200.
Oh.
So let's
40,
say
42.5.
42.5?
Yeah.
I'm going with the under.
Yeah, that probably should be a little lower.
Do you want to make it faster?
Yeah, let's make it a little. Let's just because I'm going to assume Lyles is going to run.
It's 142.25.
22.2 point. Oh, 42. Yeah. You're still going under?
Yeah.
I'll go over.
FYI, DNS counts as 0 seconds.
No, DNS.
Yeah, no, it counts as 0 seconds.
The bet. No, you can't tell me that after I pay.
Well, yeah, I can.
Then I'm going to go under.
Nope, you already had over.
You didn't give me a chance. DNS should void the bet.
DNS
always
is 0
voids the
seconds. So therefore, if Lyles only runs the 100,
we voided every
I get
other
the
bet
under.
with the DNS.
No, we don't. No, we don't.
Yes, we did. We voided every other bet with the DNS.
What rules
that's a stupid rule.
Where's that in the bylaws?
That's a stupid rule. That's like saying like if we had Julian Alfred like over under 6.94 and we scratched that counts as 0 seconds and it's under. That's stupid.
No, but when you do it adding times.
No, Colt, weigh in on this. It should void the bet, shouldn't it?
I don't have my headphones in, so I don't know what Colt's saying.
I mean, it's got to void the bet, I guess, right?
Yeah, Colt agrees with me. It has to void the bet. I'm quoting him.
All right, fine. I'm still taking the under.
Yeah,
You're taking the over.
Yeah, I'll still take it, but if it voids the bet.
All right, well, last one. Let's do 1,500. Oh, Centro. How many college kids beat Centro?
That's what it was. But you had it for Cooper Tier.
Oh, it's for Cooper.
Let's do it for Tier because he's going to be in like the A heat.
Oh, yeah, we actually have the heats.
Oh, okay, cool.
So let me bring up the heats. I will send this to you. Colt, let's bring this heats up.
Shout out to Colt, by the way.
Yeah,
doing a
Colt.
great job
Shout out
producing.
to Colt. So we have the heats for the 1,500. It's a good heat. Got Cooper Tier.
Sai, Wascom, Ryan.
Wascom,
Whoa.
Kip Sang,
Whoa.
Fisher, Baston, Spencer, Cabet.
800 guy for UAC. Masawi. Oh, my goodness.
It's a good field. It's going to be fast.
Woo.
Look, you got excited.
Yeah, that's a good one.
This is like your excitement for the Boston Marathon.
Yeah, let's not get carried away. That's a good heat.
We don't even care about Heat 2. I mean, Heat 2 is also Heat 2's good too.
Heat 2's nuts. You got Nur in there with like 7 Washington guys. Quacks. Schultz.
Wait, where's Centro?
Yeah, scroll down. We'll go back to 1 in a second. Keep scrolling, please, Colt. Yes, stop there. Heat 3. You got Shoppy.
Maybe he's running an 800.
You got 2 UW guys. All right, keep going. Give me another. I'm going to go until I don't recognize someone as being top tier. Okay, so Heat 4. Well, Bonds is really good, though, too. Tintuvate, Bowerman. All right, go to 5. Give me one more. Give me one more, Colt.
Wait, there might be no Central.
All right, there might be no Central, according to Gordon. All right, let's go back to 1.
Yeah, there's no Central.
In any heat, 800 or
I don't see him in the
1500?
800. We'll check the Heat. Yeah. No, he might not be in the race.
All right, so then we're going to do it with tier. Do you want to do it with tier?
Yeah. All right. So how many college kids are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 college kids. We'll set the over-under at 1.5.
Under.
So you think less than?
I think he's going to win the race.
You think he's going to win the race?
Yeah, so that's easy for me. But that's fine. What are you going with?
I'm going over. I think 2 college kids beat him. I was gonna say 2.5 and take the under, but I'm like, no. College kids beating
Kids.
tier.
Kids. Just kids.
It's so harsh. Tier's great. They're gonna run fast.
Tier doesn't seem like the type of guy who wants to just take like losses either. He takes the racing pretty seriously. So
Do you think that's gonna be a fast time?
I don't see why it wouldn't. I don't know what shape Tier's in right now, but all those other guys.
Let's see collegiate record probably.
It's Kipsang. He's in it. 333.
Yeah, Kipchoge isn't running as well though.
Yeah, but he's running it. Brian Clay.
I know, but what is the record?
Everybody's gonna run good. 333. Something. I don't remember.
333.74. So
Yeah.
over under that.
For the winner, under, but the winner probably Tier.
Okay.
So I don't know. I don't know if the collegiate record is gonna get broken. I mean, I think it would. Dude, Fisher and Tier in the same race. Man, imagine going to college, being a runner in college, and you get pretty good. But then part of your senior year or your junior year, your sophomore year, is like, oh, you have to run against the guy who got 4th at the World Championships. Like, what's the equivalent? Like, if you're on the tennis team, you're not like showing up to a tournament and you're like, well, Nadal's here. So I gotta beat this guy from UTEP in the first round, and then I got Nadal from Spain in the second round. That's tough, man.
It'll be
tough.
fine. They'll be fine.
All right. Tampa Eagle says, may everyone have a safe weekend and see you all Monday. So whenever Tampa Eagle says the show's over,
It's
it says
over.
bye.
He's our producer.
It's
Sorry,
over.
Colt. Tampa's taking your job.
He's the chat producer.
Yeah, chat
He
producer.
does a good job with it. All right, I'm excited. Great weekend of track and road racing on tap.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah, do that. Everybody, have a good weekend. And we will talk to you on Monday for a Boston Marathon recap. It's going to be a busy show on Monday.
Yes.
Very busy show on Monday. We'll see you then.